So the idea of solar fragrances excites me. We are headed to summer, and I like the idea of sunny, sunshiny solar fragrances to wear during the summer months. So if you're into the idea of these kind of fragrances which utilize sunny, sunshiny notes that are considered solar fragrances, and I've got 20 of them for you in today's video, find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today we're talking about solar fragrances. Sunny, sunshiny solar fragrances. So what are solar fragrances? Solar fragrances generally refer to sunny notes in fragrances. Citruses are generally considered solar fragrances. They might include marine notes, white flowers, coconuts, and other synthetic notes to create a sunshine effect in fragrances, a sunny effect. So these fragrances kind of make me happy, and I like the idea of solar fragrances. So the fragrances I'm going to talk to you about today either have these kind of solar notes in the fragrances, or they have a solar accord featuring in the fragrances. So they might utilize the notes that are considered solar, or they might actually have a a note in the fragrance that's called a solar accord. So these are great fragrances to wear not only in the summertime, but also all year round if you like the idea of sunshine in a bottle. So let's go ahead and get started with the first fragrance. We're going to the house of NUIT Nomade. This is Sun Bleached, this one right here. So I'm using a new camera, so I hope we can get this blur effect. Not the blur effect, but focus effect. So Sun Bleached from NUIT Nomade is a great sunny fragrance, and it's kind of musky and floral and very citrusy and powdery, and it has a note called Clean Linen Accord, along with loads of white flowers. So white flowers are prominent in solar fragrances and also, citruses. This features ambrette along with bergamot, citrus fruits, oranges, white musks, and sandalwood. There's definitely a beachy vibe here and a sunshiny effect here with the notes. It smells great. It's a bit musky, definitely a bit beachy, but perfectly solar fragrance that I think deserves to be mentioned here in today's video. This is Sun Bleached from NUIT Nomade. You guys familiar with that house? I featured that house in a Scent Club kit a couple of kits ago. Then moving on to the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte. So I really enjoy the AQUA VITAE original in the Forte version. Now we have Cologne Forte, which is a fresher take on the original AQUA VITAE. Is it Cologne? I think this is the Cologne. I'm getting a bit confused with all the different versions, but this is the most solar of the variations. We've got AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte, AQUA VITAE Forte, and then we've got AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte. But this is, as I said, the most sunshiny, and I think what really does that sunshiny kind of solar effect here is the ylang ylang note along with the citrus fruits that are in here. So it features bergamot, there's mandarin, sunny floral accord, sensual musk accord, but I think the sunny floral accord is what you call the ylang ylang note that's in here prominently that really stands out. It's very fresh. It does have a bit of a light beachiness, very tropical and very invigorating to wear in the summertime. So AQUA VITAE Cologne Forte. Did that focus? There we go. Hopefully this camera is turning out to be great. This is next fragrance is from the house of PHLUR. It's Solar Power, this one right here. Solar Power for me does have a bit of a beachiness, but it's taking citruses, lots of them, and moving it into a solar direction, a bit of a beachy direction. PHLUR has very interesting fragrances, and they keep cranking out the fragrances. If you like beachy fragrances with a citrus edge, you're going to probably like this one, but it features notes of neroli, orange blossom, musk, sea salt, driftwood, bergamot, jasmine, Italian red mandarin, orange. Yummy fragrance for sure. It's very fresh, a bit calming and comforting because it has kind of that beachy coconutty vibe in here, but overdose of citruses and invigorating, sparkling, effervescent vibe with those citruses. So Solar Power from PHLUR is great. If you haven't tried it, definitely try that one. I highly recommend it. Moving on to the House of Vacation by Vacation. This is it right here. Let's see if I can get it focused. Vacation by Vacation is your typical beachy fragrance in that it has great beachy notes, but it has definitely this kind of a plasticky, lycra-like vibe because they've actually added this accord or note in this fragrance to kind of give you that whole, you know, vacation vibe with the fragrance, wearing all these kind of like bathing suits and things like that. So this features notes of coconut, sunscreen, swimsuit, lycra, pool water. It's fun, it's playful, it's coconutty, it's cozy, beachy, and all that kind of stuff. And definitely it's vacation in a bottle. So I think this brand's going out there. I now see their products. They have tons of products at Nordstrom's, and I was surprised. They came on the scene probably in 2020, and then I think since then they've just been you know, launching a ton of products, not only the fragrance, but I believe they have some new fragrances that are going to launch soon. But either way, Vacation by Vacation, check that out. Totally a beautiful solar fragrance. And then we've got this fragrance from the house of Pierre Guillaume. This is Sunsuality, this one right here. Can we get that focus? Come on, there we go. So Pierre Guillaume is definitely an underrated house, and I find Pierre Guillaume to be a really great perfumer. And again, he is definitely very underrated. He does crank out a ton of fragrances, but no one ever talks about them. And they're really, really great releases, just like Sunsuality. This is a very creamy, very smooth vibe. It has that kind of beachy, sunshiny solar vibe, but also kind of woody at the same time. So Sunsuality features notes of lemons, kumquats, ginger, lemon blossom, creamy sandalwood, white musk. So it has loads of citruses for sure. So you have that kind of a sweet, sparkling, you know, effervescence from the citruses, but you've got that kind of creaminess and, you know, smoothness from the sandalwood here along with the white musk. It's beautiful, very cozy, very comforting fragrance. Sunsuality from Pierre Guillaume. Let's focus there. That is a great fragrance. If you don't know that one, check it out. Then moving on to the house of Tom Ford, we've got Soleil Blanc from the collection called Private Blend. Soleil Blanc for me is the most solar of the bunch of fragrances in this collection. I believe there's 4 now in the collection, with Soleil de Faux that was launched earlier this year. Soleil Blanc to me is a beachy fragrance, but totally solar. Very, very sunshiny and happy with coconut, tuberose, there's pistachios, there's ylang ylang, amber, and then also tonka. And for me, it's the combination of the tuberose and ylang ylang in the fragrances along with the coconut makes a fragrance very, very solar. I believe there's some citruses in here as well, but for me, this is more of a coconutty, floral, solar fragrance. And for me, whenever I see ylang ylang and tuberose, it definitely gives me a solar vibe. I don't know what it is about ylang ylang, but it smells fantastic here in Soleil Blanc from Tom Ford. So Soleil Blanc, check that out if you don't know it. Moving on to an indie niche house called Gallagher. Although this is not Gallagher, this is Pearlescent Parfums, the sister house of Gallagher. This is Sunscape, this one right here. Can we focus that one? There we go. So Sunscape is a very different take on a solar fragrance, and there's a ton of different notes in here that are in here to create a very interesting effect, very much in line with the brand and their creations. This fragrance features notes of honeydew with brown sugar. There's Texas Sunshine. This is where we get that solar effect. We've got lime, ginger, frankincense, sweet orange, and bergamot. For me, this is the play on all the citruses with the honeydew and then also the Texas Sunshine to create a very sunshiny, happy, sunny, you know, solar fragrance. Definitely has some intensity though. This is definitely kind of on the indie side, so it's not I'm referring to intensity of the fragrance, so it does have really potency compared to some of the others, so use cautiously. It has great longevity, and then also I think the honeydew is really what's running the show here. So Sunscape from Pearlescent Parfums is a great solar fragrance. If you haven't tried that, definitely check it out. Then we've got this fragrance from the house of BYREDO. It's Sundazed, this one right here. This one to me is a uber citrus solar fragrance. Very sunshiny, very happy, very uplifting, effervescent, and things like that with neroli, lemons, mandarin orange, musk, cotton candy, jasmine, sambac. We've got the jasmine, we've got the neroli, and of course all the juicy citruses in here. It's an uber citrus solar, sunny citrus solar fragrance. Sundazed from the house of BYREDO. If you don't know that one, maybe you should check it out. Do recommend it. Moving on to the house of Juliet Has a Gun, Vanilla Vibes. You guys know this one. I've recommended this one quite a bit. I really think it's a beautiful fragrance, perfect vanilla fragrance you can wear in the summertime when vanilla fragrances can be a bit cloying in the summertime, you know? And this features salt, and it's a fleur de sel note in here with vanilla, tonka beans, benzoin, sandalwood, brown musk, and orchid. So it has some floral touches, but definitely vanilla, but it's actually toned down with the salty note in here. So you've got that kind of a salty, beachy, sweet, vanillic, solar effect going on. Vanilla Vibes is great. I really love it. Check it out if you don't know it. I highly recommend that one. Then, speaking of salt, we've got Ciel d'Argent from the house of BDK Parfums. Let's see if we can get that focused here. So BDK makes some great fragrances. Some I enjoy more than others. This one's definitely one that is highlighting salt in the fragrance. But it's a floral fragrance in the end, but it's overdosed with the saltiness here, which gives you that kind of a marine vibe. So it features salt, orange blossom, ambroxan, cashmeran, white musk, timber silk, grapefruit, and bergamot. So juicy citruses, an overdose of salt, and there's some flowers in here, some kind of molecular notes and to create a musky effect. So wonderful fragrance if you like the idea of salt and fragrances, a salty floral fragrances. And it does have not only the marine vibe, but a bit of a beachy vibe as well. So Ciel d'Argent from the house of BDK is a great release. One more sunny, citrusy fragrance from the house of Imaginary Authors. We've got Sundrunk here. Sundrunk is a great, juicy, citrusy fragrance. To me, it reminds me of sun-kissed orangey drink. I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's a subconscious thing, but that's what I get with the juiciness of the oranges in here. It's all about oranges for sure. Lots of it. You know, oranges ripening under the sun. When they get really juicy, you can squeeze them. This is what it reminds me of. So it's oranges, rhubarb, neroli, honeysuckle, hibiscus, and rosewater. So a bit of a rosy touch in there, a little bit of a floral touch from the hibiscus, and then fruitiness from the rhubarb, but it's an overdose of juicy oranges. So Sundrunk, a yummy fragrance, totally solar, from the house of Imaginary Authors. So up next, going to a fragrance from the house of Rocha. This is Eau de Rocha Citron Soleil, this one right here. You're familiar with this one? I recommended it in a video last weekend. This to me is a great alternative to Louis Vuitton's Sun Song in that it's a very sunny, solar citrus fragrance. It features lemons, neroli, orange blossom. That also features fig leaves, rose petals, amber, and white musks. And it's beautifully citrusy fragrance. But not only do we have the citrus juiciness, but we also have the flowers of the citrus. So it's an uber solar fragrance. In fact, it's called Citron Soleil. Soleil referring to the sun. And a really beautiful, juicy fragrance. If you like citruses, and like I said, if you like Sun Song and you're missing it, I think this will do a great alternative for that fragrance. So this is Eau de Rocha Citron Soleil from the house of Rocha. Then we're going to the house of Loewe. This is Paula Zabiza Eclectic. I've recommended both of the Paula Zabizas. In fact, the Paula Zabiza original is very green. Here, I feel like this one is more solar in that it has the solar notes. It has notes of orange flower, night blooming jasmine, mandarin orange, black pepper, incense, frankincense, coconut, vanilla, ylang ylang, musk, and sandalwood. So it's beautifully floral with citruses in there and some creamy sandalwood. It has a kind of a beachy, bubblegummy vibe, and it makes for a beautiful solar fragrance. So Paula Zabiza Eclectic from Loewe. Great scent. If you don't know it, check that out. Now this one is definitely uber floral and tropical and beachy and very, very solar. I discovered this 3 or 4 years ago, instantly fell in love smelling fragrances at a diptyque store. I should say it's more like 2 years ago. This is Omoheli, this one right here. Omoheli is like banana flowers or something interesting in here. And I think it's the ylang ylang note in here. Whenever I smell ylang ylang, that reminds me of bananas. I don't know what, but not a banana fruit, more like a banana flower, if that makes sense. But it's ylang ylang, pink pepper, ginger, and vetiver. Perfectly tropical, beautifully sunny, sunshine in a bottle, I should say, more in a floral direction, but beautiful solar fragrance. Omoheli is really, really beautiful. If you don't know it, check it out. I recommend that one, especially if you like ylang ylang in fragrances. Next, going to the house of, this is Maison Margiela. This is Beach Walk. This is a great designer fragrance, I should say. One of the best from this house. And I think it stood the test of time because they've discontinued a ton of others, and this one stood around. This is basically a beachy fragrance, beach walk in the end, and it has solar notes and also notes that are associated with solar, you know, fragrances like ylang ylang, coconut, musk, heliotrope, lemons, pink pepper, bergamot, benzoin, and cedar. There's definitely a saltiness here, and it's supposed to be inspired by the salty skin after someone you know or yourself has dipped into the ocean and came back out, and the muskiness that leaves behind. So Beach Walk, a great scent from Maison Margiela. If you don't know it, check that out. I recommend it. Then go into the house of, this is Estee Lauder, and we've got Bronze Goddess here. Come on, focus there. Bronze Goddess, to me, I've heard a lot of negative things about Bronze Goddess, and I've heard that it's not the same. This version, I believe, is the 2019 version, and I never got into Bronze Goddess prior to that, so I don't know what version that is. But what version I have here smells pretty darn good to me. It's very vanillic and coconutty with tiare flower, amber, and sandalwood, and I believe tiare flower is one of those floral notes that is associated with solar fragrances. So it definitely smells really, really great here. Definitely has warmth, vanillic notes, ambery touches, and a beachy, coconutty floral vibe. Very solar fragrance. So this is Bronze Goddess from the house of Estee Lauder. If you don't know that one, do check it out. I recommend it. And here we have a kind of an unusual solar fragrance with a fragrance from the house of Amouage. This is Ashore. How many of you know Ashore? Ashore is a floral fragrance, and these notes are associated with solar notes, but they also mention a solar accord in this fragrance, which means they're taken into a major solar direction. But it's jasmine, sambac, solar accord, pink pepper, cardamom, turmeric, rose, ambergris, sandalwood, and olibanum. So it's woody, it's a spicy and very, very floral, but some of the notes along with the solar accord creates for this very sunshiny solar effect, which makes for a very summery floral wear. So this is Ashore from the house of Amouage. Check that out if you don't know it. Next, going to the house of Comme des Garçons. This is ERL Sunscreen, this one right here. And this is a fragrance inspired by suntan lotion, sunscreen, things like that from the house of Comme des Garçons. And this features notes of solar accord with coconut. There's musk, peach, and heliotrope. So it's very powdery, but has a very solar sunny effect here in the fragrance. It wears very, very sunshiny and happy, but a bit coconutty as well, which is basically featured here and has that kind of a beachy, salty vibe with the fragrance as well. So this is ERL Sunscreen from the house of Comme des Garçons. If you don't know that one, check that out. And then we've got a fragrance from the house of Kayali. It's Utopia Vanilla Cocoa 21. How many of you know this one? This is a solar fragrance, very sunshiny and happy, and also very powdery and musky at the same time, with the vanillic touches too. And it wears like, sunscreen, suntan lotion, beachy, all that kind of comes to mind, with coconut, tuberose, vanilla, honeysuckle, jasmine, sambac, gardenia, pear blossom, lemons, ambrette, sandalwood, musk. Lots of stuff happening here. Totally wears like a solar fragrance, but it has the kind of powdery touches, musky touches for sure, very sunshiny and happy. Really like this one. I like that it's musky and vanillic at the same time. So Utopia Vanilla Cocoa 21 from the house of Kayali. And then finally, the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Gritti. It's Siracusa, this one right here. Can we get that focus right there? So this is an unusual fragrance in that it smells like the beach with citruses along the way as well. So it's got a very solar effect because of these notes, but also very unusual that it has a kind of a beachy vibe along with these kind of like citrus florals and also citrus notes. It features notes of solar notes, lemon blossom, palm leaf, tiare flower, vanilla, almonds, white musk, sandalwood, and creamy notes. So there's definitely smooth, creamy vibe here, floral vibe, citrusy vibe as well, and very smooth and solar and sunny and playful. It smells like vacation to me. I don't know where I get that, but solar fragrances totally can come off vacation and holiday vibe as well. So Siracusa from the house of Gritti is a great fragrance for you to check out if you're into the idea of solar fragrances. Anyway, those are my thoughts on these solar fragrances. What are your thoughts? Are you a fan of this style, or is this the first time you're hearing about solar fragrances? And now that you've heard about the fragrances, are you curious to check out these fragrances? Because I think these are very happy and uplifting fragrances. They smell like vacation to me. Very fun, playful, sunshine in a bottle. I should say basically what these are. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright, I've got a couple of bonuses for you. One that I don't have the bottle here. I've already put it away because it's discontinued. It's just got announced to be discontinued. It's Dior's Balade Sauvage with fig tree, fig fruit, solar notes, aldehydes, marine notes, peach, petitgrain, labdanum, orange blossom, bergamot, and hedione. Love this fig fragrance, but sadly it just got discontinued, but totally was sunshine in a bottle in a different direction with these kind of minerally, marine, and solar touches all rolled into one. And then Sun Men. I would totally think it's totally a solar fragrance here. And this is very sunshiny for sure, with cardamom, bergamot, musk, nutmeg, sandalwood, and rosemary. And there's a whole collection of fragrances in this, series. I think there's a women's collection and also men's. And I only have the one original Eau de Toilette, which I quite like, and I think it's a great scent for a man if you like the idea of solar, sunshine in a bottle kind of a thing. They're fairly inexpensive, and I recommend it here today as a bonus option. But if you're a fan of this collection, let me know what you think about the women's series and also the other fragrances in the men's collection. Do put a comment down so I can find out. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a good one. Goodbye.